Carbon clincher for rim brakes? Yes, please. The folks over at Elite recently reached out and asked if I'd be interested in receiving a set of their Drive Series wheel sets to do a review on the channel. But I did request that they send out a set of the rim brake variants of these because for the last year and a half, the Drive Series wheels have been extensively reviewed on YouTube, all to very glowing remarks, but to my knowledge, I hadn't seen any reviews of the rim brake variants of these wheels. And while I'm well aware that manufacturers are no longer producing rim brake carbon fiber bikes for high performance, the market is actually flooded with very good examples of carbon performance rim brakes manufactured from like 2017 to 2021, which I happen to think is the golden era for rim brake carbon fiber bikes. And the people who own those bikes, along with people who have steel frames, aluminum, and titanium bikes for rim brakes, are always very interested in making sure that they can keep their bikes current by applying the best in technology and performance, and by keeping their bikes very relevant. And I fall very squarely into that category. So in today's video, I'm gonna unbox, I'm gonna weigh them, and I'm gonna give my ride impressions. And in so doing, I'll talk about their performance, their value, and the build quality. All right, let's unbox. Everybody loves a good unboxing video. Let's unbox. What else is in the box? Product manual, we don't read that. Warranty card, that's going to be handy. Well, no, we don't want it to be handy. And a set of front and rear skewers. Spare spokes. 3 spare carbon spokes. The front spokes on both sides are going to be exactly the same. And then on the rear wheel, the drive side and non-drive side is different. A lot of YouTubers have reviewed this wheel set and they've done all the looking at the lateral run out, checking for trueness, pulling the hubs apart, all that kind of technical stuff, measuring the width for accuracy all around the wheel set. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm not a wheel builder, I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not an engineer. What I am is a cyclist, so I'm gonna put these wheels on that bike and I'm gonna put it through its paces on different types of rides. So next is the weight. $739. $566. So 1,305 grams. I'm going to call that very good for a set of carbon clincher wheel set. Right out the gate, I was very impressed with the quality and workmanship of the wheels. It features a glossy marble textured finish. The brake surface is set to use a high temperature resin and is constructed with Toray T800. It does have the etched grooves that remind me of the AC3 brake track on the Campagnolo Bora Ultra. I did request and receive a Campagnolo 10, 11, 12 speed hub. The wheels had the rim tape and valve core installed from the factory to be run tubeless, which I thought was a very nice touch. Both wheels feature carbon spokes along with alloy nipples. The front wheel features 18 spokes in a radially laced pattern. The rear wheel features a 2-to-1 pattern with a total of 21 spokes, 14 in a 2-cross pattern on the drive side, 7 radially laced on the non-drive side. Incidentally, the 14 spokes on the drive side does not touch. Lastly, the hubs feature ceramic bearings and the rim width is 28 millimeters external and 19.5 internal. Initial ride impressions. Well, on went the Vittoria Corsa Control in 30 millimeters. Initially, I had butyl tubes installed. For my last ride, I installed a set of TPU tubes because I'm playing around with the tire pressure a little bit because I'm definitely trying to find the sweet spot for this wheel set. I've done a total of 4 rides on the wheel set. The first one was a 5-mile shakedown ride just to see how the wheels felt out of the box. I did a couple of hard efforts to kind of feel for the construction, the quality of the wheel set, make sure they weren't going to fall apart on me. The second ride was an 18-mile solo ride that I did at a zone 3 effort, and I wanted to do that ride without the distraction of other riders around me. The third ride was my Saturday morning fast group ride that I did. We had very extreme windy conditions, gave me an opportunity to push the wheel set way beyond what I would do on a solo ride. The fourth ride was a coffee ride at a very chill pace with a few friends, and I found that when you're testing equipment, componentry, frames, wheel set, when you bring the pace down, any kind of weird characteristics, nigs and naggles of your equipment are definitely going to make themselves known to you on those types of rides. There's 2 things that had me very curious about this wheel set. The first one being, since this is a high performance wheel set constructed using carbon spokes, I was curious to know if any excess harshness or chatter would come through the chassis. The second thing, and this is more of an elephant in the room type of issue, is these are carbon clincher for rim brakes. Pretty much all of the tests that I have seen or evaluations that I have seen with the Elite Drive wheel set have been for disc brakes. But Elite says that there have been advancements made in the braking texture, and while I don't have Alpine descents to really test this theory, I wanted to see if I could discern any flaws in the construction, and I also wanted to see how this wheel set would perform in wet or damp conditions. Let's see what kind of revelation we've gotten after those 4 rides. My initial evaluation included me running Vittoria Corsa Control 30 millimeters with butyl tubes, and I had those right around 75 psi. If that sounds high, it was. I later changed over to TPU tubes and dropped the tire pressures substantially, but I did that because I was trying to find out where the sweet spot was, and I wanted a definite contrast. The first thing that I was able to confirm in terms of performance was how well this wheel set performs in the wind. On my initial ride, I got hit with a very big gust of wind, and I kind of signaled to the camera that I just got hit with a very big gust of wind. On my Campagnola Bora Ultra, which are 35 millimeter in the front, when I get hit with that kind of wind, the bike just does a little one of those deals. It doesn't get blown across the road or stay in this position. It just gets a little nudge. The Elite wheel set didn't even do that. And what I recorded in my mind was like, these wheels seem impervious to wind. And it happened a couple times on that ride, but then was also confirmed on the fast group ride that I did on Saturday morning, where the wind just basically created a lot of carnage with the gusts. A lot of people got dropped. There were gaps all over the place. And I was able to maintain my position in the pack, close a couple gaps when I needed to without having too much effort. So I made a big check mark next to the performance of this wheel set in terms of how it handled the wind. Next, I wanted to see how the wheels perform because of the construction. Carbon clincher made with carbon spokes that are very taut and very stiff. I expected a lot of rattles and a lot of harshness, unwanted chatter to come through. And the first thing that I was able to confirm was the responsiveness of them. I had 2 pitches of 4%. One I did seated, the other one I did standing. And what I got when I applied power was just an immediate response from the wheel set. They just lurched up the climb. Conversely, given that robustness, I'm thinking these things are going to beat me up the minute the texture of the road changes. And yes, at a very high PSI, I did get a lot of unwanted chatter and unnecessary feedback. But as I switched out the butyl tubes to the TPU tubes and I dropped the tire pressure, I'm not going to say that they became Cadillac smooth. It certainly wasn't a magic carpet ride, but the ride was compliant and comfortable for me to feel like I can ride the bike like this all day long. In fact, they felt dang good. Dang, not the other word, okay? So I was very impressed with that compromise or balance, if you will, between the stiffness and the robustness. Of course, I'm running a 30 millimeter. In the future, I'll slap 28 millimeters on there. I'll also run those with TPU just to see how they perform. But so far, very impressed with that compromise of the construction. The next thing that I needed to confirm was how would these, given that they're carbon clincher for rim brakes, perform. And on one of the rides, we had a lot of moisture. It was very damp out, and I did get a lot of moisture on the brake track, and they felt like my aluminum rim brake wheel sets. They initially didn't really want to grab, and then they grab, just like the aluminum ones do. It wasn't pouring down buckets, but that's what I had to work with, and I felt very comfortable with the way how they dealt with that. So those are my initial ride impressions. Very good marks on the construction and the quality of the wheel set. Very good marks on the performance on the wheel set, and because of those two marks being very good and the price point at $1,200, I have to give an excellent in terms of the value of the wheel set. If I had a rim brake bike, and I do, and I was looking to optimize the performance by upgrading my wheel set, I would not hesitate to spend my money on the Elite Drive wheel set. You get a high quality performance wheel set with performance features like carbon spokes, ceramic bearings, hooked with 28 millimeter external width, tubeless compatible, mixed depth availability, weighing in right around 1,305 grams, all for under $1,200 US. Plus, I do have a discount code for 15% off. It's LS15. I'll also link Elite's website in the description below. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to see myself do a little bit more of these kind of reviews and give my unscientific, very subjective analysis of how the wheels perform, let me know what you think about me doing more of these in the comment section below. As always though, guys, our aim here at the channel is to inform, instruct, inspire. Be blessed.